Welcome to Bentonville, Arkansas, where nature and creativity meet in breathtaking harmony. Hidden among the rolling Ozark Hills lies one of America's most extraordinary cultural destinations, the Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art, a place where art, architecture, and the natural world come together in perfect balance. Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art is the vision of Alice Walton, an American philanthropist and the daughter of Sam Walton, founder of Walmart. While many of the world's most renowned museums stand in major metropolitan cities, Alice dreamed of something entirely different, a museum that would bring the power of art to the people, not just to the coasts or the elite. Growing up in Bentonville, Arkansas, Alice developed a deep love for the beauty of the Ozark landscape, its rolling hills, streams, and forests. To her, this land represented the authentic heart of America. She believed that this environment, full of peace and natural inspiration, could be the perfect home for a new kind of art museum, one that celebrated the American story, from its beginnings to its modern identity. Her goal was simple yet profound, to make great art accessible to everyone, no matter who they are or where they come from. She wanted to bridge the gap between art and nature, between the country and the city, and between the past and the present. That's why she chose the name Crystal Bridges, symbolizing both the crystal clear waters of the natural springs on the property and the metaphorical bridges that connect people, ideas, and cultures through art. When Alice Walton began developing the project in the early 2000s, she faced skepticism. Many wondered why a world-class art museum would be built in a small town in northwest Arkansas. But Alice's vision was clear. She wanted to create a place that represented the entire American experience, not just one region or style. She began acquiring important works of art from across the nation, carefully curating a collection that would tell the story of America, from its early portraits and landscapes to bold contemporary pieces. Each painting, sculpture, and installation would serve as a window into the evolution of the nation's identity, diversity, and creativity. With this mission, Alice Walton partnered with architect Moshe Safdie, known for his human-centered designs that harmonize with nature. Together, they envisioned a museum that wasn't confined by walls, but instead open to the landscape, blending seamlessly into the forests and water of the Ozarks from the very beginning. Alice's mission was rooted in she wanted admission to the museum to be free, ensuring that costs would never be a barrier to experiencing art. This commitment turned Crystal Bridges into one of the most accessible world-class museums in the United States, welcoming millions of visitors since its opening in 2011. Today, Crystal Bridges stands as a testament to her belief that art belongs to everyone. It's a living embodiment of Alice Walton's dream, a place where people from all walks of life can find beauty, inspiration, and a sense of belonging. Her vision has not only transformed Bentonville into a cultural destination, but has also changed how the world views the American heartland, proving that creativity, culture, and vision can thrive anywhere when guided by passion and purpose. The architecture of the Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art is as breathtaking as the art it holds. Designed by world-renowned architect Moshe Safdie, the museum is a stunning fusion of innovation, elegance, and harmony with nature. From the very first moment a visitor steps onto the grounds, it's clear that this place is not just built in the landscape, it is built with the landscape. Safdie's vision was guided by Alice Walton's deep respect for the Ozark environment. Rather than constructing a grand structure that dominated its surroundings, he designed a museum that flows with the terrain, embracing the curves of the valley and the gentle movement of water. The result is a masterpiece of architecture that feels both futuristic and organic, an embodiment of balance between human creativity and the natural world. The museum complex consists of a series of interconnected bridge-like pavilions, suspended gracefully over two spring-fed ponds. These pavilions are constructed from wood, glass, and steel, materials chosen to echo the textures and tones of the forest. The warm timber beams, the transparency of the glass, and the smooth arcs of the copper roofs create an atmosphere that feels alive, shifting with every change in light and season. Each pavilion serves a distinct purpose. Some house galleries, filled with American masterpieces, while others provide gathering spaces, educational studios, or quiet lounges overlooking the water. The buildings are connected by gently curving bridges and open walkways, allowing visitors to move fluidly between indoor and outdoor experiences. As you walk through, you're never far from the sound of rippling water or the sight of sunlight filtering through trees. Safdie designed the museum to invite reflection and calm. Natural light plays a crucial role, streaming through skylights and glass walls. It changes throughout the day, creating new moods and shadows that dance across the artworks. The ponds not only reflect the architecture but also serve as a cooling element, moderating the temperature and deepening the museum's connection to nature. One of the most remarkable aspects of Crystal Bridges' design is how it disappears into the environment. From above, the copper rooftops blend seamlessly with the earth tones of the hills. From the trails, the glass facades mirror the surrounding trees, making the building feel like a living part of the forest. It's as if the museum is breathing, an ever-changing reflection of the world. Around it, the museum's entrance is equally symbolic. Visitors approach by descending into a natural ravine, leaving behind the busy world above and entering a tranquil space of art and contemplation. This descent isn't just physical, it's emotional, almost spiritual, preparing visitors for an immersive journey through American creativity and history. Beyond the main structure, the grounds and landscape architecture extend Safdie's vision. Winding trails lead through the forest, connecting the museum to outdoor sculptures and installations. Bridges cross small streams, and viewing decks allow guests to pause and appreciate the interplay between art, architecture, and environment. Crystal Bridges is a marvel, not because it seeks attention, but because it quietly honors its surroundings. Safdie has described it as a museum in a park, but many visitors feel it's more like a living organism, one that breathes, reflects, and grows with time. At night, the museum transforms. Soft lighting glows from within the pavilions. The glass walls shimmer against the dark water, and the reflections double the beauty of the structure. It becomes a vision of serenity, a symbol of how human artistry and nature can coexist in perfect unity. Today, architects and visitors from around the world travel to Bentonville, not just to see the art inside Crystal Bridges, but to experience the architecture itself as art. It's an enduring testament to what can happen when design respects the land, celebrates light, and invites people to slow down and truly see. In the words of Moshe Safdie, Crystal Bridges was created not to impose on nature, but to become one with it, and in every beam, bridge, and reflection, that philosophy shines through, making the museum one of the most inspiring architectural achievements in modern America. The natural setting of the Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art is as integral to its identity as the art or architecture itself. Nestled deep in the rolling Ozark forest of Bentonville, Arkansas, the museum is surrounded by more than 120 acres of pristine woodland, crystal-clear streams, and winding trails. Every element of the landscape has been thoughtfully preserved and enhanced, allowing the museum to exist not as an interruption of nature but as a continuation of it. From the moment visitors arrive, they are enveloped by a sense of calm. The air feels fresh and alive, scented with pine and wildflowers. Sunlight filters through a dense canopy of oak, maple, and dogwood trees, scattering soft patterns on the ground. The soundscape is a living symphony, the gentle murmur of water, the call of birds, the whisper of leaves swaying in the breeze. It's as if nature itself welcomes every guest before they even step inside. The museum's very name, Crystal Bridges, comes from this connection to the natural world. The crystal refers to the natural springs that feed the ponds surrounding the museum, while the bridges symbolize both the physical bridges that link the museum's pavilions and the metaphorical bridges that connect people, art, and nature. The museum's location was chosen with deep intention. The site sits in a wooded ravine, carved by Crystal Spring, a source of clear, flowing water that has existed for centuries. Rather than clearing the land, the designers built around it, allowing the museum's ponds to form naturally from the spring's path. The result is an environment where water, land, and architecture flow together seamlessly, creating a landscape that feels timeless and tranquil. Surrounding the museum are miles of walking and biking trails, each offering a different way to experience the beauty of the Ozarks. The trails meander through shaded forest paths, open meadows, and small clearings where contemporary sculptures rise unexpectedly from the greenery. Works by artists like James Turrell, Louise Bourgeois, and Buckminster Fuller interact with the land, turning the outdoors into an open-air art gallery. One of the most famous outdoor installations is James Turrell's Skyspace, The Way of Color, a circular chamber designed for viewing the sky during sunrise and sunset. As the light changes, the color of the sky appears to shift, transforming nature itself into a living artwork. It's a meditative experience, reminding visitors that art doesn't just depict the natural world, it collaborates with it. Throughout the property, the landscape design carefully balances wildness and order. Native plants like dogwoods, redbuds, and prairie grasses have been cultivated to restore and preserve the local ecosystem. Trails are laid out to follow natural contours, minimizing disruption to wildlife. Benches and overlooks are placed strategically to invite moments of stillness, reflection, and appreciation. As visitors wander, they find that every step reveals a new perspective. One moment, you're walking beneath a cathedral of trees. The next, you emerge to see the shimmering ponds, their surfaces reflecting the glass pavilions of the museum. The architecture mirrors the landscape, and the landscape mirrors the architecture, a dialogue between art and environment that never ends. In every season, the setting transforms. In spring, the forest bursts into bloom. Shades of green, pink, and white surround the museum like a living painting. In summer, the ponds glisten under clear blue skies, dragonflies darting across the water. Autumn brings a blaze of color, gold, crimson, and amber leaves, framing the copper roofs of the pavilions. And in winter, a quiet stillness descends. Snow dusts the trails, and the frozen ponds reflect a different kind of beauty, pure, minimal, and peaceful. This constant transformation makes each visit to Crystal Bridges a new experience. No 2 days ever look or feel the same. The landscape acts as an ever-changing gallery, one where nature itself becomes the curator. Perhaps the most powerful part of the natural setting is the sense of peace it offers, whether standing on a bridge overlooking the water or sitting quietly beneath the trees. Visitors often describe feeling grounded, reminded of their place within something larger. It's this connection to the earth, to art, and to self that makes Crystal Bridges so much more than a museum. That is a sanctuary, a place where creativity grows from the soil, where light dances across water, and where every breeze carries the story of America's landscape. In the heart of the Ozarks, Crystal Bridges is living proof that art doesn't just belong in cities or galleries. It belongs wherever beauty is found. And here, beauty is everywhere. The art collection at the Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art is one of the most comprehensive and thoughtfully curated representations of the American experience ever assembled. It is not simply a gallery of paintings and sculptures, it is a visual chronicle of a nation's growth, its struggles, and its dreams, told through the eyes of its artists. But from the moment you step inside, you are surrounded by centuries of creativity that trace the story of America from the colonial era to the present day. Each gallery feels like a chapter in a living history book, filled not with words, but with color, emotion, and vision. The collection begins with early American art, featuring works from the 18th and early 19th centuries. These pieces capture the founding years of the nation, a time when artists sought to define the identity of a young and rapidly evolving country. Portraits by artists such as Gilbert Stuart, known for his famous images of George Washington, and John Singleton Copley, whose precise brushwork immortalized early American figures, stand as icons of this period. Their art tells stories of ambition, independence, and the birth of a new world. As visitors move through the galleries, the art begins to evolve, mirroring the changing landscape of American life. Expansive landscape paintings by artists of the Hudson River School, like Thomas Cole and Albert Bierstadt, reveal a 19th-century vision of nature as both divine and infinite. These paintings, with their golden skies and sweeping mountain views, celebrate the majesty of the American wilderness while reflecting the optimism of a growing nation. Nearby, genre paintings by artists such as Eastman Johnson and Winslow Homer depict the everyday lives of ordinary people, farmers, sailors, children, and families. Through these intimate scenes, visitors see the humanity behind America's progress, the personal moments that define a people. The journey continues into the Gilded Age and early 20th century, when industrialization and modernity began reshaping the American landscape. The museum's collection captures this period's complexity through the bold realism of artists like Thomas Eakins, the poetic impressionism of John Singer Sargent, and the vibrant domestic scenes of Mary Cassatt. Each work reflects the nation's transition from rural to urban, from old to new, from traditional to experimental. As America entered the modern age, its art exploded with innovation and individuality. Crystal Bridges holds significant works by early modernists such as Georgia O'Keeffe, whose abstracted flowers and desert scenes redefined how Americans saw their world, and Charles Dumas, whose precisionist style turned industrial forms into poetic geometry. The museum's 20th century galleries showcase the diversity of voices and styles that define modern American art, from the powerful regionalism of Grant Wood and Thomas Hart Benton to the bold expressionism of Jackson Pollock and Mark Rothko. These artists pushed boundaries, challenged norms, and reflected the growing complexity of American identity. Equally striking are the museum's contemporary works, which explore themes of culture, identity, and social change. Pieces by artists such as Andy Warhol, Kehine Wiley, Jenny Holzer, and Nick Cave offer vibrant commentary on modern life, pop culture, race, gender, and the evolving meaning of Americanism. These works remind visitors that art is not static. It continues to question, provoke, and inspire. Crystal Bridges' collection also celebrates diverse perspectives often overlooked in traditional art history. It includes powerful works by Indigenous, African American, Latinx, Asian American, and women artists, each contributing a unique voice to the larger American story. Paintings like Kehine Wiley's heroic portraits of black figures or Joan Quicktasy Smith's Native American mixed media works challenge the viewer to expand their understanding of what American art truly means. Beyond paintings and sculptures, the museum also embraces photography, installations, and new media, reflecting how technology and innovation shape art in the modern era. Each piece, whether centuries old or freshly created, is part of the same ongoing dialogue about who we are and where we are going. One of the most moving aspects of the collection is how it's presented. The galleries are designed to feel open, warm, and human, with natural light filtering through glass walls and views of the surrounding forest beyond. Art and nature coexist here, just as Alice Walton envisioned. Visitors might find themselves standing before a 200-year-old portrait, while through the window, a waterfall sparkles in the sun. It's a reminder that art, like nature, is timeless. The museum's curators have also worked to make the collection accessible and engaging. Interactive exhibits, guided tours, and digital displays invite visitors to explore the stories behind each work, not as distant observers, but as participants in the continuing story of America. Every piece in Crystal Bridges' collection, from the smallest sketch to the largest installation, carries a message of resilience, hope, and creativity. Together, they form a mosaic of the American experience, the triumphs and tragedies, the quiet moments and the bold revolutions, the diversity and unity that define a nation. In the end, walking through the museum feels like walking through time, a journey from the founding of a country to the heart of its modern identity. The Crystal Bridges collection doesn't just show art, it shows America itself, in all its color, contradiction, and beauty. The Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art is home to some of the most iconic and emotionally powerful artworks ever created in the United States. Each masterpiece housed here tells a distinct story of an artist's vision, a nation's evolution, and the enduring spirit of creativity that defines the American experience. Every gallery offers a new discovery, and every work invites viewers to see the world and themselves in a new light. As you move through the museum, one of the first paintings to capture attention is Asher B. Duran's Kindred Spirits, a cornerstone of the collection and one of the most celebrated works of the Hudson River School. Painted in 1849, it depicts two figures, poet William Cullen Bryant and painter Thomas Cole, standing on a rocky cliff overlooking a lush, untamed wilderness. The landscape glows with a soft, almost spiritual light, symbolizing humanity's reverence for nature. This single painting captures the essence of 19th-century America, a country still discovering its identity through the majesty of its land. Nearby, Charles Willson Peale's George Washington commands the viewer's attention. Painted in the late 18th century, this portrait of the nation's first president is both formal and deeply human. Washington stands tall and calm, his face lit by the idealism of the young republic. To see it in person is to feel the weight of history, the beginnings of a new nation, and the ideals that shaped it. Another highlight is Norman Rockwell's Rosie the Riveter, painted in 1943. This powerful image of a woman confidently flexing her arm while taking a lunch break became one of the most recognizable symbols of female strength during World War II. Rockwell's Rosie, painted with humor and pride, embodies the resilience of American women who transformed the workforce during a time of global crisis. Standing before it, you can almost feel the hum of wartime factories, the energy of a country united in purpose, and the quiet determination of those who built victory from within. One of the museum's most moving works is Kehine Wiley's Napoleon Leading the Army Over the Alps, a modern reinterpretation of Jacques-Louis David's 1801 classic painting of Napoleon. In Wiley's version, the subject is a young black man in contemporary streetwear, striking the same heroic pose as the French emperor. The background bursts with ornate patterns, and the contrast between the modern figure and the historical symbolism challenges viewers to rethink power, race, and representation in art. It's bold, unapologetic, and deeply contemporary, perfectly capturing Crystal Bridges' mission to tell the whole story of American art. Another beloved treasure is Georgia O'Keeffe's Jimson Weed, White Flower, No One, painted in 1932. This enormous delicate flower fills the canvas with curves of soft white and green, turning a simple bloom into a monument of grace and strength. O'Keeffe's mastery of form and light draws viewers into an intimate world of nature seen through the eyes of wonder. Standing before it, you can feel the silence and power of the desert, a moment of meditation. Captured in color. For those who love modern abstraction, Mark Rothko's No. 210, No Desentus, Eonzi Orange offers an entirely different experience. Large fields of glowing orange and red seem to float in space, pulling the viewer into a state of reflection. Rothko's art isn't meant to be understood, it's meant to be felt. In the quiet of the gallery, surrounded by natural light, visitors often find themselves standing in silence, moved by the intensity of pure color and emotion. Among the museum's sculptures, Robert Indiana's Love, with its bold red letters stacked in a square, is one of the most photographed and instantly recognizable. Created in 1966, it represents the optimism and energy of post-war America, while serving as a timeless reminder of the power of a single word. Placed outdoors against the backdrop of forest and sky, it transforms from a pop art icon into a universal message of connection and humanity. One of the museum's most dramatic installations is James Turrell's The Way of Color. Part of his Sky Space series, this outdoor pavilion invites visitors to sit beneath an open oculus in the ceiling, watching as changing LED lights alter the way the sky appears. At sunrise and sunset, the colors shift so subtly that time seems to stand still. It is an artwork that requires patience and presence, a meditation on perception, light, and the passage of time. Crystal Bridges also honors the voices of Native American artists. Works like Joan Quicktasy Smith's Trade Gifts for Trading Land with White People challenge the viewer to confront history and the complex legacy of colonialism. Through layers of paint, text, and collage, Smith captures the tension between cultural survival and loss, reminding visitors that American art is inseparable from the stories of its indigenous peoples. Each of these works, from the historic to the contemporary, speaks to the diversity and evolution of American creativity. But what makes them especially powerful within Crystal Bridges is the setting itself. The artworks are displayed in spaces filled with natural light, surrounded by glass walls that reveal views of trees, water, and sky. This harmony between art and environment transforms the viewing experience, allowing nature to become part of the gallery. Visitors often describe the experience as walking through time. You can stand before Gilbert Stuart's George Washington, take a few steps, and find yourself face to face with a work by Kehine Wiley or Nick Cave. It's a journey from America's founding ideals to its modern reimaginings, a dialogue between past and present that feels alive and evolving. Every masterpiece in Crystal Bridges invites reflection, not only on beauty, but on meaning. Together, they form a living portrait of a nation, constantly redefining itself through art. Whether it's a portrait from 1776 or a contemporary installation created last year, each piece is a bridge, connecting generations, perspectives, and possibilities. This is what makes the museum so extraordinary. It doesn't just display art, it tells the story of America through brushstrokes, textures, and light. Each masterpiece is a voice in that story, and together, they sing the song of a nation, in all its color, complexity, and hope. One of the most extraordinary aspects of the Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art is how it erases the boundaries between art and nature. Here, the landscape is not a backdrop, it is an active, living part of the artistic experience. Every structured path and gallery has been designed to invite visitors into a conversation between human creativity and the natural world. It's not just a museum surrounded by trees, it's a place where art and nature breathe together. From the moment visitors arrive, the transition from forest to museum is seamless. The approach to the museum winds through wooded trails, where sculptures appear unexpectedly among the trees as if they have grown there naturally. The gentle rustle of leaves, the reflection of light on the ponds, and the songs of birds become part of the sensory experience. It feels less like entering a building and more like entering a living ecosystem of creativity. The architecture itself acts as a bridge between human imagination and the landscape. The pavilions, made of curved wood, glass, and steel, hover over spring-fed ponds, mirroring the trees and sky on their reflective surfaces. During the day, the water shimmers with sunlight. At night, the illuminated pavilions glow softly, their reflections creating the illusion of floating lanterns in the forest. The result is a constant play between what is natural and what is man-made, a visual and emotional harmony that defines the spirit of Crystal Bridges. Inside, this connection continues. The galleries are filled with natural light that changes throughout the day, altering the mood of the art itself. Visitors may notice how morning light enhances the warmth of a landscape painting, or how the evening glow transforms a modern sculpture into something almost ethereal. Large glass walls and open sightlines ensure that the forest is never out of view, reminding guests that every work of art exists within the greater masterpiece of nature. Outside, art and landscape merge completely. The museum's network of trails, over 5 miles long, lead visitors through the surrounding woods, across bridges, and along streams. Along these paths, art installations emerge in perfect dialogue with their settings. One of the most remarkable is James Turrell's The Way of Color Sky, located in a quiet clearing near the museum. This circular stone structure invites visitors to sit inside and look up through an open oculus in the ceiling. As the sky changes color at dawn and dusk, hidden LED lights subtly shift hues, altering the viewer's perception of the sky itself. The result is a breathtaking fusion of art and atmosphere, a reminder that even the sky can be a canvas. When seen through the eyes of imagination, an striking outdoor piece is Buck Fuller's Fly's Eye Dome. This geodesic sculpture, designed as an experimental vision of sustainable architecture, sits along the museum's North Trail. Its circular openings frame views of the surrounding forest and sky, transforming the environment into part of the artwork. Standing inside, one feels both enclosed and free, surrounded by geometry, yet immersed in the organic beauty of nature. Throughout the property, sculptures and installations by artists like Dale Chihuly, Deborah Butterfield, and Louise Bourgeois interact with the environment in profound ways. A glass sculpture by Chihuly refracts sunlight through its delicate curves, casting colorful patterns on the forest floor. A bronze horse by Butterfield seems to graze quietly among the trees, as if part of the landscape. Bourgeois' massive spider sculpture towers in stillness, both haunting and beautiful, reflecting the complexity of life itself. Even the trails and gardens have been designed as works of art. The North Forest Trail weaves through wildflowers, moss-covered stones, and sculptures that play with shadow and form. The Tulip Tree Trail offers glimpses of the ponds and bridges below, while the Art Trail connects directly to downtown Bentonville, symbolizing the museum's open invitation to the community. The museum's integration of art and nature also extends to sound and movement. The gentle creak of a wooden bridge underfoot, the rhythmic sound of footsteps on gravel, the chirping of cicadas in summer, all these elements become part of the visitor's sensory journey. It's an experience that engages not only sight, but hearing, smell, and touch. In this setting, even the simplest things become profound. The reflection of a sculpture in water, the way a breeze moves through a glass installation, the sound of rain against a copper roof. These details remind visitors that beauty is not confined to the walls of a gallery. It exists all around us, waiting to be seen with fresh eyes. This fusion of art and nature embodies the philosophy at the heart of Crystal Bridges, that creativity and the environment are deeply connected. Both are expressions of the human spirit, one crafted by hands and imagination, the other shaped by time and the earth itself. Together, they form an experience that is not only visually stunning, but spiritually uplifting. For many visitors, walking the grounds of Crystal Bridges feels like entering a state of quiet reflection. It's a place that encourages stillness and curiosity, a reminder that in the dialogue between art and nature, there are no boundaries, only bridges. By blending natural beauty with artistic expression, Crystal Bridges transforms the simple act of visiting a museum into something far greater, a journey of connection, where every painting, sculpture, tree, and ripple of water becomes part of one living masterpiece. At the heart of Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art lies a mission far deeper than displaying beautiful paintings and sculptures. It's about education, inspiration, and community. From the very beginning, the museum was designed not just as a place to view art, but as a living classroom where people of all ages, backgrounds, and experiences could engage, learn, and grow through the power of creativity. Alice Walton envisioned Crystal Bridges as a museum for everyone, a place that welcomes schoolchildren, scholars, families, and travelers alike. Her philosophy was simple yet profound. Art should not be locked away behind walls of exclusivity, but should instead be a source of shared knowledge and discovery for all. This vision gave rise to one of the most comprehensive educational programs in the country, connecting thousands of people each year through art-based learning. Inside the museum, classrooms and learning spaces buzz with energy. Educators lead workshops where students sketch from real paintings, explore American history through visual storytelling, and learn to interpret the messages behind every brushstroke. Through hands-on activities, children discover that art isn't just something to look at, it's something to experience, question, and create. The museum's school visit program has become one of its most beloved initiatives. Since its opening, Crystal Bridges has hosted hundreds of thousands of students, many of them visiting an art museum for the very first time. And thanks to generous funding from the Walton Family Foundation, admission, transportation, and educational materials are often provided completely free of charge for children from rural areas or small towns. These visits can be life-changing, offering their first encounter with the works of masters like Norman Rockwell, Georgia O'Keeffe, and Kehinde Wiley. Teachers are also empowered through special professional development programs, helping them integrate art into subjects like history, literature, and science. By showing how visual storytelling can deepen understanding, Crystal Bridges helps educators bring creativity back into classrooms across Arkansas and beyond. Beyond school programs, the museum's community outreach extends in every direction. Free art workshops in local neighborhoods, artist talks, and family days help bring people together, encouraging dialogue and collaboration. The museum's Art Infusion program connects young professionals and creatives, turning the museum into a hub of inspiration and social engagement. Music nights, poetry readings, and cultural festivals create an atmosphere that's both vibrant and inclusive, proving that art is not a silent experience, but a living one. One of the museum's proudest achievements is its commitment to diversity and representation. Through curated exhibitions and collaborations with artists from across the nation, Crystal Bridges strives to tell the full story of America, one that includes indigenous voices, African American artists, women creators, and emerging talents who challenge conventional ideas of what American art truly means. Every piece on the wall, every program, and every event carries a message of inclusion, that art belongs to everyone, and every story matters. The museum also connects deeply with the local community of Bentonville and Northwest Arkansas. Once a quiet town, Bentonville has blossomed into a cultural destination, in large part because of Crystal Bridges. The museum has inspired local artists, fostered new galleries, and created a ripple effect of creativity throughout the region. Nearby, the Momentary, a contemporary art space developed by the same foundation, continues this legacy, focusing on experimental and modern works that complement Crystal Bridges' mission. In addition to formal education, The museum offers countless ways for visitors to learn informally. Docent-led tours, artist lectures, and interactive digital guides make every visit a journey of discovery. Children's story times introduce young minds to art through imagination and play, while adults can join discussions that dive into cultural and historical themes reflected in the collections. But perhaps the most powerful form of education at Crystal Bridges comes not from lectures or guides, but from the experience itself. Standing before a painting that captures a moment in American history, or walking through a sculpture trail that reflects the beauty of the land, visitors find themselves learning without realizing it. They begin to see connections between past and present, between people and place, between creativity and community. The museum's educational mission doesn't end at its doors. Through partnerships with schools, libraries, and cultural institutions nationwide, Crystal Bridges is helping to reshape how art education is approached in America. It's redefining what it means to learn, not just from books or classrooms, but through shared experiences that inspire empathy, curiosity, and imagination. Ultimately, education at Crystal Bridges isn't about memorizing facts or art history dates. It's about awakening a lifelong relationship with creativity. It's about teaching people to look closer, think deeper, and feel more connected to art, to nature, and to each other. In this way, Crystal Bridges stands as a beacon of what education can truly be: open, transformative, and rooted in the belief that every person has the capacity to see the world through the eyes of an artist. When Crystal Bridges, Museum of American Art, opened its doors in 2011, few could have imagined just how profoundly it would transform not only Bentonville, Arkansas, but the entire cultural landscape of America's heartland. What began as one woman's vision to make art accessible to all has grown into a movement, one that has redefined what it means for a small town to become a center of artistic and cultural gravity. The impact of Crystal Bridges reaches far beyond the museum walls. It has reshaped Bentonville into one of the most dynamic cultural destinations in the United States. Once known primarily as the headquarters of Walmart, the town has blossomed into a thriving arts community filled with galleries, music venues, artisan markets, and creative festivals. The presence of the museum has sparked a wave of economic revitalization, attracting artists, entrepreneurs, and travelers from around the world. Hotels, cafes, and boutique shops have sprung up around the museum, blending local character with cosmopolitan energy. Streets that were once quiet now hum with creativity and conversation. The arts are no longer an afterthought in Bentonville, they are part of its identity. Visitors who once came for corporate meetings now stay for art walks, culinary experiences, and cultural discovery. Beyond the local economy, Crystal Bridges has had a transformational effect on perception. It has challenged the long-held belief that great art and culture exist only in major cities like New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles. Instead, it has proven that world-class art can thrive in rural America, that creativity belongs not to geography, but to spirit. This rebalancing of the cultural map has given a new sense of pride and purpose to communities across the region, inspiring other towns to invest in their own creative futures. The museum's influence also extends nationally through its traveling exhibitions and partnerships. Works from the Crystal Bridges collection regularly appear in major museums across the country, while collaborative projects bring fresh perspectives to Bentonville. By sharing its treasures and inviting others in, the museum embodies its name, building bridges across regions, generations, and communities. But perhaps the most meaningful impact of Crystal Bridges is the way it touches lives on a personal level. For many visitors, walking through the museum is a deeply emotional experience. Veterans find solace in the depictions of courage and resilience in American art. Immigrants see their stories reflected in contemporary works, exploring identity and belonging. Families discover the joy of learning together, while artists find inspiration in the museum's balance of creativity and nature. Community engagement is woven into the fabric of everything Crystal Bridges does. Local artists are showcased alongside national figures, giving them a platform to reach new audiences. Festivals such as Forest Concerts and Art by the Glass bring music, food, and art together in open-air celebrations that draw thousands. The museum collaborates with schools, nonprofits, and cultural organizations to ensure that art remains an accessible, unifying force. One of the museum's most inspiring initiatives has been the creation of the Momentary, a satellite space in downtown Bentonville devoted to contemporary art, performance, and experimental creativity. Housed in a repurposed factory, the Momentary continues the Crystal Bridges mission in a bold, modern form, supporting living artists and expanding the definition of what art can be in the 21st century. Together, these two spaces have made Bentonville a cultural crossroads, a place where tradition meets innovation, and where the local meets the global. Crystal Bridges also plays a vital role in shaping cultural conversations through exhibitions that explore themes like race, gender, history, and environmentalism. The museum encourages dialogue about the challenges and triumphs that define the American experience. Shows like State of the Art, which showcases contemporary artists from across the nation, break down barriers and amplify diverse voices that might otherwise go unheard. The museum's ripple effect is also seen in education, tourism, and civic pride. Local schools now integrate museum visits into their curricula. Arkansas has become a must-visit destination for art lovers and nature enthusiasts alike. And residents take immense pride in knowing that one of the most respected art museums in the world stands in their backyard. Economists and cultural analysts have noted the crystal bridges effect, a term used to describe the phenomenon of how a single cultural institution can ignite economic growth, social development, and creative innovation within a region. In Bentonville's case, that effect has been profound. New businesses, rising tourism, a stronger local economy, and an expanded global reputation. But beyond the statistics and accolades, the true influence of crystal bridges lies in something more subtle and powerful, the way it changes how people feel. The museum inspires a sense of connection, pride, and possibility. It reminds visitors that art isn't just about paintings on walls. It's about understanding ourselves, our past, and our shared humanity. Crystal Bridges has become a symbol of transformation, proof that art can heal, unite, and uplift entire communities. It stands as a living example of how cultural investment can breathe new life into a region, offering hope and inspiration to places that once believed the world of art was far away. And perhaps that's the greatest legacy of Crystal Bridges, not just the beauty it houses, but the bridges it builds, between people and ideas, between history and the future, and between the quiet forests of Arkansas and the vast imagination of America. As the sun sets over the wooded hills of Bentonville, the glass pavilions of Crystal Bridges glow softly above the water, a reflection not only of light but of vision. In just over a decade since its opening, the museum has already carved its place in history. But its story is far from over. The legacy of Crystal Bridges is still unfolding, a living, growing force that continues to shape the future of art, community, and the American spirit. When Alice Walton first imagined Crystal Bridges, her dream was not to build a monument, but a movement, one that would evolve with time, embracing new generations and new ideas. Today, that vision has taken on a life of its own. The museum has become more than a building or a collection. It has become a cultural ecosystem where creativity, education, and innovation thrive side by side. One of the most powerful aspects of the museum's legacy is its commitment to accessibility. Admission remains free for all, a rare and radical choice in the world of fine art. This principle that beauty and knowledge should never be reserved for a privileged few is the foundation upon which Crystal Bridges was built. Millions of visitors have since walked through its doors, many experiencing an art museum for the first time. That moment of discovery, when someone stands before a masterpiece and feels truly seen, is the heart of the museum's enduring legacy. As Crystal Bridges looks to the future, it continues to expand its reach and redefine what a museum can be. The creation of the Momentary, its sister space dedicated to contemporary art, performance, and experimentation, marked a bold step into the future. Housed in a repurposed 63,000 square foot factory, the Momentary stands as a symbol of reinvention, transforming the industrial past into a creative future. It complements Crystal Bridges by giving living artists a platform to explore today's most pressing ideas: technology, identity, climate, and the evolving American experience. In addition, Crystal Bridges is continually growing its collection, ensuring that it reflects not just the history of American art, but its living, breathing present. The museum now houses works from early colonial portraiture to avant-garde installations, from indigenous traditions to digital innovation. Each edition broadens the story, reminding visitors that American art is not one voice, but a symphony of many. The museum's architectural expansion is also a part of its future. Plans are already underway to nearly double its size, adding new galleries, performance spaces, and educational centers, all designed once again by architect Moshe Safdie, maintaining the harmony between art, light, and nature that defines the museum's soul. These additions will allow for more immersive exhibitions, greater community engagement, and new opportunities to experience art in innovative ways. Crystal Bridges' future also lies in its environmental stewardship. Sustainability is deeply woven into its philosophy, from the preservation of its natural trails to its use of renewable materials and energy-efficient design. The museum is not only a place that celebrates nature, it actively protects it. Future initiatives aim to deepen this connection, blending ecological awareness with creative practice, inspiring visitors to see art and the environment as two parts of the same story. Another part of the museum's growing legacy is its investment in artists and education. Through artist residencies, scholarships, and collaborations, Crystal Bridges supports creators from every background, helping them find their voice and share it with the world. It's a place where emerging artists stand alongside masters, where the next generation learns that creativity is a lifelong pursuit, not a privilege, but a right. On a global scale, Crystal Bridges has become a symbol of cultural renewal. It has shown the world that museums can thrive outside major cities, that art can elevate a community, strengthen its economy, and nurture its soul. Other towns and regions have begun to follow in its footsteps, recognizing that investment in culture is an investment in people. But perhaps the most enduring legacy of Crystal Bridges is emotional, the feeling it leaves with those who experience it. Visitors often describe the museum as peaceful, even spiritual. They come to see art but leave with something more, a renewed sense of connection to the land, to history, and to each other. The combination of architecture, nature, and human creativity creates a harmony that touches something deep within the human heart. Alice Walton once said, "Art is not just for looking at, it's for understanding who we are." That belief continues to guide every decision, every exhibit, and every path through the forested grounds of Crystal Bridges. It's a reminder that the museum's legacy is not fixed in stone or steel, but in the minds and hearts of those it inspires. As the museum moves forward, its mission remains clear: to celebrate the American spirit in all its forms, past, present, and future, to tell the stories of a nation through its art, to connect people through beauty and truth, and to remind us all that creativity, like the clear waters that run beneath its bridges, is ever-flowing, timeless, and alive. The future of Crystal Bridges is bright and boundless. With every new exhibition, every young artist supported, and every visitor who finds inspiration within its walls, the museum continues to write a story that is uniquely American, one of hope, vision, and the unending power of imagination. And as the lights of the museum reflect on the water each night, shimmering softly under the Arkansas sky, they stand as a symbol of what is possible when art, nature, and humanity unite, not in separation, but in harmony.